Welcome to Post-Race Conversations here from our hotel room near the Charlotte airport because they ended the media shuttle and we didn't want to take a huge hike to our car. I am Steven Stumpf.
He is Trenton Worsham.
And this weekend's content at the Charlotte ROVAL is brought to you by Custom Patch Hats Show. Big shout out to them for sponsoring us this weekend. Now, there was a very eventful Xfinity race today, but I don't think anyone is feeling any worse about this one than Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, Parker, he was mere, feet, inches from the start and finish line before taking the white flag to win this race and get into the playoffs and stuff and everything. I believe it was Honeyman who was wrecked, and from what I have seen and read, that the tower said that he was in a spot where they couldn't see him, so they couldn't throw it sooner. But at the same time, you got to feel bad for him because, he was racing for his playoffs life right there. He was inches from taking that white flag, getting that caution, and winning it on the last lap. And, you got to speak to him afterwards and everything, too. So
I think, before I get into what Parker said post-race, I think the most frustrating part is that those last 10 laps before the caution, which Honeyman said on Twitter he blew a tire, which is partially why he correct. But those last 10 laps before that caution came out, they were incredible. SVG stayed on older tires. Kligerman made his way up to the second with the freshest tires. He made his way around him. Sam Mayer, AJ, they were the class of the field. They were hounding Kligerman, every single corner, every single step of the way. But Sam made a mistake with 3 to go. Parker got a huge gap, and coming to the white flag, it looked like as long as he made it to the caution, as long as he made it to the white flag before any caution came out, he would have it in the bag. And it was mere feet, maybe even inches, probably a fraction of a second, that NASCAR made the now controversial decision to throw that yellow when they did, instead of either not waiting until after the white flag was taken and ending the race there, or seeing Honeyman immediately and throwing the caution then, avoiding all of this. Now, Parker did his best in the restart. He got a great restart, but Sam Mayer just ultimately, he was too fast for him to overcome, made the pass for the lead in turn 7, just sailed off in the sunset. Parker, I was expecting him to just be, emotions all over the place, angry. Well, if he was, he certainly did a very good job of not showing it. He was very, very, very graceful. Didn't want to go out and blame NASCAR first because, it's a matter of calls. Sometimes you're, inches away. You can win by feet. You can win by a mile. Or you can, get to the caution flag by a mile or be a foot away. They were a foot away. He just talked about, though, the fact that he thought he ran the best laps he's ever ran before that caution came out to hold him at bay. And he said he just wanted this one bad, especially saying that it'd be poetic given that he only has 4 races left now in his full-time NASCAR career. Man, I mean, I don't know what to say. That's about as heartbreaking as a loss that you can come by, especially for your first win. I feel like what hurts more, Kligerman's loss here or Sieg's .002 at Texas, which was also to the guy that won the race, Sam Mayer. Now, but Kligerman needed to win. He was out when he didn't win. He dropped back to 6th by the end. But another surprising playoff exit was Shane Van Gisbergen, who won the pole for both races this weekend, and we thought that he'd probably be the best car going away.
Yeah, and I think pretty much everybody in that top group needed to win this race. Sam Mayer, SVG, Parker Kligerman. I think AJ Allmendinger, he told me he would have been fine, if he wouldn't have won or whatever. But yeah, so SVG eliminated, at a road course of all places. This is why Colleague brought him in. And he had shown flashes at other races too, getting some top 10s and everything. But this is his bread and butter. And he finished, third?
Third.
Yes. So, yeah, so he had a great day. It's just that it was everybody else's playoff points to go get. And he told me post-race that they had some opportunities last week where they missed points. And, you start to reflect a little bit. And, well, this happened there, and those points get lost. So he said it is what it is. They left some stuff out there in the previous weeks. And pretty much the same thing with the pit stop because, he stayed out. Everybody else came in, and those fresher tires ultimately won. So had he come in, SVG being SVG, would he have been able to work his way up and win? We don't know that. But AJ Allmendinger, on the contrary, is in. and he felt so bad afterwards. He basically told us that he was trying to win that race to get SVG in the playoffs, because had he won, he would have been in the playoffs. And he came by and comforted him a little bit after they had a little post-race chat on pit road. So he came by to comfort him a little bit. So that was cool to see between teammates.
Also coming to comfort by was Parker Kligerman, who, you know, it seemed like almost nearly half the playoff field came to offer their condolences to him post-race. Eric Almirola, Shane Van de Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger, Austin Hill. There were probably other names I just, you know, I can't keep track of, but they all just, you know, just came over post-race to Parker, gave him this, you know, pat on the back, good job, you know, offered their condolences.
And the winner sitting there in the media center also said he felt bad, but of course he was happy he won. But
I think no driver is gonna, you know, trade away to win for anything. But I think that goes to show just how much respect that Parker has in the garage, not only as a driver but in media and just everything he's done in his time here. But again, just a very frustrating way for him to close it today. But joining him in SVG out of the playoffs is Riley Herbst, who got caught up in the huge one on the front stretch. You got to talk to him. What did he say?
Yeah, we had a big one at the ROVAL on a road course of all places. After Talladega's big pileup last week, we had one in the Cup Series. We had an Xfinity pileup at the ROVAL, but man, he's another guy. He came in at plus 20 to the good. You know, he said, you know, coming in plus 20, you feel confident that you just have to be the best you can be, and you'll get through. And that didn't happen. He got caught up in that mess. I sat in the garage area while they worked on the car a little bit. They got him back out there, but yeah, he wasn't happy with the number 5. he said you know, the purple spoilers, aka playoff guys, they're not entitled to anything, but he wishes he would have been raced a little bit more with respect and everything. And he said one day he may have an elimination race and know how it feels. So, and it'd be bittersweet, because I asked him this, for him to win next week at Las Vegas, a track he's very good at. So.
Yeah, we also fortunately we did not get the opportunity to chat with Anthony Alfredo post race, but on the radio after the wreck happened, he said that there's a curb there and that the 90, basically insinuating that Riley didn't give him enough room. So a little bit of disagreeing there. The last driver to join out of the sidelines is Sheldon Creed, who, just like Riley, got caught up in that huge mess. Before that, it wasn't a good day. He was having transmission problems, got spun in turn 7 in the first stage, but, you know, it just went south from there. That the engine died on them while they were trying to repair the car. And, you know, and during his interview in the care center, he was, you know, basically saying, you know, I guess what they wanted with this configuration to make it more chaotic, we got it. He also said they weren't done crashing, and they definitely weren't.
Nope.
But, you know, yeah, he's out. Riley Herbst is out. Kligerman's out. But someone who's in, and it looked like he was, you know, basically on the brink and at risk of elimination, was one of the guys that came into this thinking that he would being one of the favorites. That's Justin Allgaier. Allgaier entered 7 below, but he was racing SVG, he was racing AJ, he was racing Sam Mayer, who ended up winning. There were just so many great drivers on the cut line. Kligerman was there as well. There were just so many great drivers below the cut line or on the cut line. That was going to be hard to make of any ground, but Allgaier, they ended up playing the strategy perfectly. He got 18 stage points, finished 7th. It was enough to advance by 5 points. And then another guy that just barely advanced in that final lap was Jesse Love. Midway through the final lap, he and SVG were equal. SVG had the tiebreaker, but Jesse Love ended up gaining 2 spots to get that. How did he do it?
Well, going back to Allgaier, I spoke to both those guys, and I believe from what he told me, he didn't even know he was in when he congratulated Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer came by pit road. He was jumping up and down, all excited, giving him congratulations, and come to find out, like, he didn't even know he himself was in the playoffs. It wasn't on the radio. Whereas Jesse Love, he knew the situation in the radio, and he was out there trying to get every position. He told me he admitted to me he did not do it clean. He said, I don't like to use the bumper, but, you know, I don't want to let my guys down. You know, they got me out of more holes than I've gotten them out of. So he felt like he owed it to himself, his team, to do whatever it took to get there. And while he's not proud of how he did it, he did advance. You know, just SVG was, as you said, plus the tiebreaker, and then he had to go and get 2 positions. So Allgaier was unaware of the situation from what I understand inside the car in that moment. He didn't find out till he was out of the car that he made it in. And Jesse Love, he had to do it the old-fashioned way, short track style, putting the bumper to a few guys to get those spots.
Yes, ended up being a very, very intense battle on the cut line, just like we all predicted, but maybe not in the way we all expected, though. But I guess before we move on to, I guess the closing thing I want to say about this race is just, man, those final, just as an observer, those final 10 laps between AJ, Shane, Parker, Sam, they were just so much fun to watch. It was just a nonstop battle for the lead, for the win, with playoff hopes on the line. And it's unfortunate that we're only going to remember that caution and what happened after the caution. Then we're going to remember everything that happened before it, because that was a solid race from start to finish until then.
Yes. So per our colleague Jeff Cluck, was it a good race? The ROVAL Xfinity.
I would be very curious to see those results. But what we're also curious to see tomorrow is how the Cup drivers are going to deal with the new road course layout, the new configuration on the ROVAL. Turn 7 did end up being, with the hairpin turn, it did end up being a bit of a problem spot because drivers were able to kind of dive bomb their way in there. They went three wide consistently through in the restarts. But the biggest, concern, and something we definitely weren't expecting when we talked to drivers after practice, is the turtles, the bumps through the Frontstretch chicane. You talked to Martin Truex Jr. What did he have to say about it?
Talked to a lot of drivers. It went from DVP changes to the turtles in like one practice session. Basically, Martin Truex lit the fire when I asked him about those turtles, and he said it feels like a concussion every time we run over it. Kyle Busch, in his Kyle Busch ways, said, "I'm glad I'm not the one to say it." And so it just piled on. A lot of drivers are talking about it. It's slipping my mind on who said it, but I believe it's Kyle Busch, actually. He said that we won't see the data from the impacts that it has on the drivers until maybe Monday. So there's not really nothing they can do really right now to measure it. If it's the helmet, if it's the car, if it's the mouthpiece they wear. There's a lot of things that they weren't sure what's getting impacted by it the most, but all the drivers, McDowell, I believe Gilliland that you spoke to, a lot of these guys said that, yes, these hits are pretty hard. And it's not as bad as Watkins Glen, because Watkins Glen, they had them three times a lap, basically, whereas here's just one. But, I mean, that one's enough to really, make you not feel right. So,
yeah, Keselowski kind of agreed. Even if there's other drivers weren't saying it felt like a concussion, they agreed it was bumpy. Sam Mayer even admitted, even in the Xfinity car, it definitely felt a little rough going through there, although probably not as rough as the Cup car. But we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow with that turn, with the new configuration and everything. There's going to be 109 laps to decide the round of 8. A lot of drivers very close to the cut line, and a lot of good road course racers close to the cut line as well. So it's going to be an exciting one to watch. Trenton and I will be there to bring you all the coverage of it. But for now, so long for tonight. I am Steven, he's Trenton, and we will see you tomorrow.
This is Custom Pat Chats. But what makes us custom? Well, that actually begins with you. We're just bringing your unique vision to life. No knockoffs, no lookalikes. Your design is one of a kind. We know hats, we know design, and we know quality. The proof? It's in our production. Hand-stitched with precision and care, with brands you know and trust. A one-of-a-kind patch deserves a one-of-a-kind treatment, all the way to your doorstep. It's how we keep it custom.
Steven Stumpf of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.